objectives of our program is to further your interpersonal and leadership skills and provide an understanding of your contemporary business environment. Well, this is how it is going to be. Earlier, you set up your own firms, you interacted with people, your clients. It was a small world. But now people are moving out of that particular small area, and they're crossing boundaries, they're crossing territory your technology is helping us do that, and you're connected with people right all across the globe also. So overall, we prepare you for an employment or a practice by educating you to be more adaptable and accountable. Well, just a minute. I think I have my screen has gone black, and I have to just see where it is. Just a minute. Take it back. Why has this become? Why has this become black? Okay. So now we begin with the job search. The job search entails, now you begin. You have to package yourself. You must know yourself, you will discover yourself, you have to create yourself, and finally you have to present yourself. Now you notice this, you have a number of people there standing in queued up for a particular job. Your LinkedIn profile is going to shout out to the world that here is Supriya Agarwal with these qualifications. These are the various skills that she possesses, and she's out for this particular job description. So all those jobs, here is Supriya Agarwal, and she's being presented to you. But how is Supriya going to be different? She has to be different like this and stand out distinctly from the rest of the others. You all have your hard skills, but apart from your hard skills, what are those soft skills? What are those pervasive skills? What are those influencing skills? What are those communication skills? You call them by any name, but you have to have something beyond that that is going to take you places. And this program here is going to equip you to do just that. Now, let me tell you, I'll take you back to some management lessons. In management, there is a theory, and they talk about the Jory window. You know, the Jory, there is a model known as a Jory window. And this Jory window was developed by American psychologists. That was Joseph Luft and Harry Ingham in the year 1950. And so, since it was a collaborative effort, it came to be known as Jory window. Indians, a lot of us may think it refers to a Jory. Some person must be a Jory. But well, this is a Jory window. And what does this Jory window talk about? You have seen the Microsoft logo, the logo that's there on your laptop screen, the search engine where you begin with. It has those 4 quadrants, the 4 quadrants in like a flag, which each quadrant has a different color. All right, each quadrant possessing a different color. That is the state of affairs as far as every individual is concerned. And he has these 4 colors as these 4 quadrants on him. Now, each quadrant represents a particular part or a particular aspect of his personality. There's something that he knows about himself. There's something that the world knows about him. That is something that the whole world and the character himself knows about himself. But there's one dark spot inside, and that spot is something that he is not known. Haven't you ever experienced this? Oh, main ye kar sakta tha. There's a high jump exercise, or there is a discus throw, and you managed to throw it so hard, or you managed to go so high. Oh, I could do that. I didn't know I could do that. Now look at that I didn't know I could do that. What is that? You've touched on that blind window, and you have discovered something new about yourself. That you have the potential. You have this potential to do something different. Can I have someone please mute? So this is the Jory window, friends, and I'm going to be talking to you about this. So these 4 quadrants represent the different aspects of yourself. One is an open area or an arena. This is known to others, and this is known to yourself. For example, we know this is Ritesh. Ritesh knows he is Ritesh. Excuse me. Ritesh also knows, we know that, well, Ritesh has qualified for the chartered accountancy exam. He is a qualified chartered accountant. He's completing this particular program in order to get his degree, and in order to move forward towards his, can I have someone switch off, please? before he moves on to his graduation ceremony. Then there is something that is not known to others. I didn't know Ritesh can sing. Ritesh knows that he can sing, but the others do not know. Then there is something, a lot of us like Nikita, not Nikita, but the young lady before her who said that people think that she's cold, people think that she's reserved, because a lot of people do not know much about her, nor does she show much to the external world. So, well, that is that spot. But then there is also a blind spot within each one of us. I have been telling you to develop this particular blind spot. For example, the other day I spoke to you, I said, why don't you ask when you're free, when you're at the dinner table or at the lunch table, you're in conversation with your parents, go back to your earliest years, 3 years onwards or whatever it is, and it's a phone that's ringing. Okay, that's a phone there. My phone, I think, outside. So you could talk to them and ask them, can you tell me something about myself, something that I did, and make a list of all those things. For example, your father describes a particular situation where as siblings you were sent out, and another sibling asked for something, and how in a very condescending manner you shared whatever you had with your sibling. So something about you has come out, and what is that? That you are adjusting, you can get along with your siblings very well. Make a note of that. That is a skill that you possess. These skills can come in handy as you rise in life, as you move on. So this is that blind spot, friends, and you have to discover the blind spot. When you prepare your resume, when you build up your resume, this is a summary that you're going to make of yourself, about yourself, these various skills that you possess. So we call these areas, we can call them regions or areas or quadrants. Each contains and represents, feelings, motivation, in terms of whether the information is known to the others. We know, well, Nikita has a little bit of, as she just said, a little lack of self-confidence. And this is not something that the world knows, because she says she's talkative, and we know she appears to be a very social person. She comes across as a very warm and a friendly person. So how can this person be, lack confidence? So these are things that you know about yourself. The world knows about you. Certain things that you do not know about yourself. And this is known by others. So the four areas or these quadrants or perspectives can be shown as, and they're commonly known as, I'll give you an example about this, like these four quadrants. And there is a picture, a movie, which is often taken up, in management studies also. And the picture is Drishyam, the movie Drishyam. We all know, most of you have seen the film and you know about the story of Drishyam. There was something that had happened and the family was involved, the family of a father, a mother, and the two daughters. And they are caught up in a very tricky situation, and we find the police is after them, the public is after them, but how to save themselves. And here is a team. Now see, this is what I'm trying to emphasize. Here is a team, and each team member is a vital player in the team, a vital player. In your office, you find, if your principal is leading, if your principal is the head of the firm, or your CEO of a company is the head of that company, you are also a vital instrument or vital player that manipulates, that works towards the betterment of the company. For example, even if it's an institution, you are a teacher in an institution, you are also contributing. The institution is not just known by itself, but each member contributes towards the reputation, towards the dignity of that particular institution. So here in this case, you have Drishyam, you have Ajay Devgan playing the role of the father, the mother there, and the two young girls. Have you noticed the behavior as you move forward with the movie? That in this particular situation, the father does not take overall charge of the situation, but he allocates his power. He gives each one of them equal power. He tells the wife that when you are asked, you will give this particular answer, or you answer accordingly, and each one plays a vital role. So in other words, here is a powerful, we find an example of a unit where the father is the central controlling factor, but the father distributes his powers and gives each one of them equal powers to be able to assert herself in any situation, and each one comes out brilliantly. So this is something that we learn from this movie, that in any workplace situation, in any professional situation, when you are not a Robinson Crusoe working alone in an office, but you have a team in any office, whether it's a company or whether it's a firm, and this particular office can function only with the contribution of each and every member. So each and every member has to be taken into account, and you work as a team, and as a team you give equal share of credit, dignity to each and every member. And so here these are some principles that we learn. It teaches us the main functions of management which go hand in hand. For example, forecasting, planning. Family sits down and plans together. They organize. There's a commanding, we find a function there. Coordinating, controlling, several aspects of functionality are learnt here. For example, you have authority. He takes, whenever there is an important situation, or whether there's a tricky situation, the police accost him, he takes authority. There's discipline in the family, there's unity of command, there's unity of direction, and there is centralization, there is remuneration. Each one is, at the same time, what happens? You work in an office situation, your principal is happy, is satisfied with your work, and says, well done. So well done is the reward that you get. You must always see to it that there are rewards that are. So remuneration, not in terms of the millions that you're planning for, my young chartered accountant friends, but remuneration in terms of rewards for every activity or every assignment that has been properly done. There is a scalar chain, there is order, there is equity. Equity in the sense you are fair with every member of the team, not partial with, no, the mother is more important or the little one is more important. And there is stability of tenure. These are various principles, management lessons that you learn, initiative and so on. So in order to possess all this, friends, we need to develop certain skills. And this was actually referring to the blind spot, and how you have to develop and get to know about that blind spot inside of you. So what are those skills that I actually possess, and these skills can help me? And you have to first make a summary. You have to make a list of all those skills that you may possibly possess. And very often, as I told you, you may not know about those skills, but your family, your friends can help you and guide you and tell you something about your skills. So make a list of these. And so the next activity is you then consider making an assessment, sort of a portfolio of your credentials. So what is a resume, a CV? It is nothing but a portfolio that you develop, something that you would like your professional world to know about you. What are your qualifications? What are the various projects you have worked on? What is the current work situation? And a brief biodata about you, whether you're a male, a female, married, unmarried, your date of birth, and your address, your contact address, and so on. But before you go ahead, have a look at this, what I said, and I keep repeating that. Reading maketh a full man. We find we've just had Himanshu speak and digress on Indian history, on world history, and it was such an insight that we all had, that it was informative, and you were able to then make a connection between why India was divided and why was this partition that happened. There were various forces that created this partition, and not just what we have read about. So, reading maketh a full man. Conference. What is conference? What are you doing here on this platform? It's a Zoom platform, but yet you're managing to interact with one another. And this interaction, for example, the debates that you have, the team building activities that you have, it is all making you a ready person. You're ready. You're on the go. Ready, get, set, and go. And you're just about to step out. And finally, you find always, whenever you have practiced a little bit of writing or gathered whatever you have read, you have spoken about, and put it down on paper, you are a perfect man. And so, in order to be, you have to then now make this is what you have to consider: your education, your skills, and your experience, your job requirement. there is something like a job requirement, there is something like job descriptions. For example, on your LinkedIn profile, you will find when you put up your credentials, when you put up your details, your biodata, and all about your educational information, your work experience, and so on, you find certain skills immediately crop up. At the same time, you begin to follow certain groups. For example, it could be the ICAI, it could be the Chartered Accountant Society of India, it could be the local CA Society, it could be the financial institutions of India, it could be any one of those. But when you, and there are job requirements that may come up. All these various organizations may have job placements. So in order to put up and inform the public that they have certain placements and there's going to be a placement drive, they put up this list of jobs that they have. Each job has a particular description. What is the description? Required a young chartered accountant, a dynamic young chartered accountant with these skills, whatever, for the position of so and so. Now, what are the requirements? You see, immediately we will find your profile will project that these are the skills that you possess if you have put on those skills there. So out of us, on a scale of 10, suppose you possess 5 skills, I would suggest you do not fill up that particular, go in for that particular job. But in case you have more than 7 skills and you qualify for the job description and you possess more than 7 skills, you must then go ahead. So this is all about how to move about. Information about this job description and is all about information about or job requirement is more specifically about the structure, the products, the approach of a firm, and you will get to know more about this through its reports and so on. So before you start, what do? I would wish that tonight, as you get back home and you are there on your table, prepare, make an inventory of your skills and experiences. Inventory is a list, all right? So what are the skills I possess? I have leadership skills, I have team building skills, I am assertive, whether I'm aggressive, if taken up, I have the capacity to take up challenges, and then you look for a suitable employer. You look up the employment, we find a forum where there are employments that are available on a platform. Then you choose the right format. What is the type of the CV that you're going to put up? A CV and a resume, friends, are we find they go hand in hand, or you could say one stands for the other stands for the other, for one. But there is a slight difference between the two. While a resume is very brief, a resume generally should not be more than a page or a page and a half. But when you put down you build up your CV, you find it can run into 2 or 3 pages. As of now, you're still fresh. So you do not have much, but then you put down your information about the projects that you have done, about your educational experiences and so on. So it can run into a few pages. So certain companies demand you put in a resume as well as your CV. Certain companies may, and especially, for example, if you download the CV of Vice Chancellor, or you download the CV of, say, Steve Jobs or others from the net, you will find their CVs run into pages. 35 pages, because they put in a list of all their publications, the books and so on. So CVs are always very detailed, and you can go into details, you can keep building up your CV, but a resume has to be brief. And what is most striking about your resume or CV is the little summary that you put up over there. And this summary is going to speak about yourself. It is a mirror to the society about what you are. So if you want to make this mirror shining bright, if you want to make this mirror scream out, give a shout out to the audience that this is Randhir and this is what Randhir possesses, then you have to, gather, make an inventory of all your skills and work on improving those skills. Then again, there are different jobs, they ask for a CV. So it's not that, well, I have prepared one CV and I'm going to float that on all platforms. I will send that to all workstations wherever there is an employment. No, you must customize your CV for every job. Because every job may have slight requirements, differences in requirements. So see to it that you do not make the same mistake of just floating the same resume, but customize them. And so, as I say, before you start, there are two sets of skills that you have to concentrate upon: your hard skills and your soft skills. Hard skills, yes.
Ma'am, I have a question. When we are customizing our CV, like for audit profiles, and there's an opening for audit profile, we shall delete the other exposure or work experience we have received, or we shall write it down on that too also.
No, let that be. But more specifically, you have to reorganize. All right, reorganize.
Highlight in the
Yes.
audit will be the first and then the other.
Yes, precisely. So whatever the job demands, you see whether you have those skills. So place those skills on the top. But then you also have the other skills, and these other skills can enhance your position. All right. So you must put them in also. So as far as your hard skills are concerned, your technical expertise, how good you are in your particular area, your core area, your knowledge about company laws, your knowledge about forensic auditing, and whatever you spoke about, lab techniques, your software here, whether you are very up to date with all your software, GST. Every time I spoke to a chartered accountant would say until last year that every 15 days, every month, there were new norms that came up. And so we had to reorganize, we had to shuffle, we had to keep working on it. So whether you're up to date with all that, and then you have your computer skills, that is why you have your IT program where you have about 100 hours of your training. They teach you all about the IT, because today's chartered accountant needs to be extremely computer savvy. Everything is on the net. Even for that matter, a lawyer, you look up the net and you will find all the high court cases, you can look for them on the net, all the Supreme Court cases on the net. In other words, an old-time lawyer who worked with a staff, a stenographer, he has to become very savvy to keep up with the times. So also all other professions. I belong to a time when, a lot of my contemporaries may not be able to operate and may not be as savvy with the technical skills. Though I have not taken a deep, professional course in all these computer skills, but I have made myself savvy just keeping up and working on them. So, yes, Nitika?
May I say something? Ma'am, but as a fresher, how can we have so many skills? Like, when we are entering into the practical world, things are very different than this bookish world.
I agree.
We can't say we are expertise in something, or we don't know. When we work, then we come to know where we are good at.
Exactly. But as of now, Nitika, you have your hard skills. All right, you've worked as an article for 3 years at least in a particular firm. While working for those 3 years, you've had 3 years of professional experience. So what are those skills that you developed as a professional in the office? Your team will.
But working as an article is very different.
I can understand. It is stepping out into a big world where you are part of a bigger setup. It's a bigger setup that you are there. As an article, you are a small fry in a small firm. As you step out, you are there. Perhaps you apply for Tesla or PricewaterhouseCoopers. You are a chartered accountant there. You have to learn the skills, but then these skills you base them on the skills that you've already learned, or the skills that you already possess, and you're going to hone them up further. You're going to sharpen them up further. And so there is going to be that enthusiasm within you to be able to participate, to take up more challenges, to take up more assignments. So as far as your CV is concerned, what your concern is that, well, our CV may not be that, large, or that CV may not scream boldly about our skills, but whatever skills that you have. Because as a recruiter goes about hiring individuals and looks at the different CVs, we find they know that this is the stage that they are in. They cannot possess much more than that. Now, for example, as I talk to you, I know you are a fresh chartered accountant. At my level, some of you spoke about grammar, or some of you spoke about communication skills, or some of you say that, well, I have a hesitation in speaking, I get nervous, I know everything, but when it comes to my principal and I have to talk before my principal, I somehow begin to be very shaky, jittery, and so on. It happens. Perhaps I too may have had these problems, but you evolve with the passage of time, you grow with the passage of time. Remember, as a little baby, you fell a number of times before you learned to walk, and now you can run and you can hop and skip and you can even fly. You do a number of things. So it is a process of growth, and you grow eventually. So when at your stage, this is what is required, not much more than that. But 5 years hence, when you've already worked as a chartered accountant in a company or a firm, you've gathered more expertise, you have gathered more skills, there are more projects with you which you have worked on. So they have enhanced further. You are going to keep adding them, all right, in a descending order. So Nitika, that is not something to worry about. It is just something that you develop with the passage of time. And if it is at this stage a fresh chartered accountant, this is all that is required of you, all right. But also remember that you say, as I showed you the picture, you have a number of young chartered accountants all standing there. And each one has his skill set, hard skills as well as the soft skills. And is screaming out, I'm there, I'm the right one, you can pick on me. But how does the recruiter know that you are the right one? So something about you that stands out should be shown there. And this summary that I asked you, the summary that you make of yourself, it's a sort of an SOP, a sort of a statement of yourself about you that you're going to share with the outside world. So while everything else is something similar, this something is going to stand you out. And let me tell you, recruiters are so trained, these HR personnel, they are so trained that they can go through thousands of, in a fraction of seconds, and those CVs just go into the trash cans. That's it. That's how it is. So for a CV to stand out, it must, it's not that you have highlighted like you did in your answers in college, you made bold and you underlined and so on and so forth. It's your skills that will speak volumes about you. That's about all. So, and the languages here refer to your computer languages, C++, Unix, whatever. Now, apart from that, you see there is a 50% score over here and there is a 50% score as far as your soft skills are concerned. Communication skills. Communication skills are a composite body, friends, a composite body of skills. It is not just the ability to talk or not just the ability to convey. Your body language, your gestures, the way you dress, the way you speak, the way you handle yourself, everything speaks volumes about you. And your expertise in these communication skills is really going to stand you in good stead in your professional area. That is why at the we find there are nowadays, especially if it was a physical class, at the ICAI, you have them, the cameras, and the cameras keep watching you all the time. How there's a tea break or there's a lunch break, how you hold your spoon, how you hold your glass, and how you talk to one another. Do you just gobble up the biscuits that are offered at tea time? Do you grab them? These are things about your personality, about your communication, about your style, about your holistic being that speak volumes about you. Then your creativity. Creativity is very important. What do we mean by creativity? A lot of you right now, we find you had Himanshu Dixit. I found him, apart from his hard score knowledge, his hard skill knowledge, his interest in something has given him such a deep insight into an area that is so informative that he can engage an audience for hours together. And just talking to him can enhance your knowledge also. But what we gathered about him and his interaction with us was he was able to think out of the box. I give you a certain situation. Or example, you have written something and you say, ma'am, can you please correct this for me? At the very first onset, the first line, there is an error and you have not checked that error. I said, have you read your script? You say, ma'am, I've read it 3 times and still you have not been able to get to know about that. Why? Because you're doing it in a rut. You're following a certain pattern and this is what you've written and you're just reading it up. Now think of yourself as an outsider and look at your script from the outside. How would you assess your script? And there you will find there is the error there. So sometimes when you are thinking in the same routine manner, you're not able to understand what are the pit holes or the potholes that are there, but only when you think out of the box. So thinking out of the box is the new mantra of the age. All right, the new mantra of the modern age. Think differently, think creatively, and so there should be initiative. How much is the drive inside you? You're given a particular topic. I'm going to introduce the breakout rooms, and I'm going to give you all an assignment, each one of you, and perhaps it could be in teams, it could be in groups, or whatever it is. And there are a couple of you who are going to take the initiative. So the more you find you are full of that particular initiative, there is a spark inside you, you find you will be able to do excellently well. Interpersonal skills. Amandeep spoke about himself as being a very social person, as being able to get along well. People who see him, there was a particular question that I, what are people's opinions when they see you for the first time, or when they get to know something about, when they interact with you. So you're a social person, you're very friendly. These interpersonal skills, how you get along well. You know your neighbor, you do not like your neighbor. The neighbor is a crony, and your principal may be a very whimsical person. हर आदमी कहता है आई डोंट नो क्या खड़ूस है, क्या क्या शब्द आप बोलते हैं ऐसे सिचुएशन में, लेकिन but still in front of the principal you're always very well behaved, you're very well organized, and you show yourself in your best behavior. This is your interpersonal skills. You may not like your neighbor, you may not like another person's behavior, but you have to show the world, you have to get along, and you have to create harmony in that situation. Every family, with your siblings, one sibling is a North Pole, the other is a South Pole. But you share the same bed, you share the same room. So also a couple, a husband and a wife, you find one is a North Pole and other is a South Pole. And there are differences of opinion. That differences of opinion doesn't mean you go your different ways. So also in a professional area, you have differences of opinion. Doesn't mean I'm going to give up my job, I'm going to throw it up. Jobs don't come every day, but you have to create an environment of harmony and be able to live in that particular environment and think differently. So you need leadership skills. If there's somebody who is disorganized, somebody is dissatisfied, is disoriented, it is the leader in you will satisfy, will show them an insight, will be able to guide the person. Organizational skills, any activity, how well you're able to organize. See friends, these are all, in a way, these are soft skills, and these are areas within you, that blind spot within you, the jury window that we spoke about, and you have to look into that window of yours. So I would like you all to, just introspect, give some time to yourselves today, or in the course of your studies all the time. Just think about what are those special things that I have, that I can show to the world. And so before I start, this is something about the soft skills. And this is a map of soft skills. I picked it up from the net, and it tells you about the various skills and how each skill is linked to another. So when they talk about, for example, any job description, what is most important in today's world is a man must have excellent communication skills. You look at all job descriptions, they all speak about good language skills, good communication skills. So this is your essential or the core skill area that you need. What are they? Communicating, team working, organizing and planning, problem solving. There's a problem. Problems constantly keep occurring in the work area. And professionalism. How professional you are. Do you carry your emotional luggage? Do you carry your domestic luggage? Or are you a good worker? Now, considering these core areas, there are related areas. Communicating involves writing, speaking, team working involves cooperating, leading, organizing and planning involve decision making, time management, investigating and researching, problem solving. What is problem solving? You analyze a situation, data handling, professionalism. Now, professionalism is managing your performance. How are you able to manage it? Are you creative? Do you pay attention to quality? I spoke to you about integrity, virtue, ethics, honesty, and punctuality. These are, aspects of your professionalism. So how would you perform on that particular score? So do you give attention to quality? From next time onwards, this afternoon, when you begin your next class, you should see to it that you are there 20 minutes before time, so that that you are there invited, or you're invited into the room much beforehand, before the speaker comes into the room. You must always take care of about that. Working on your own initiative. Now, see, these are the outreach, the marginal, we find those on the margin, and they're all related to your essential skills. And these are, I would like you to take a screenshot of this, friends. You can take a screenshot so that you can make an analysis, or a sort of a summary, and see when you have displayed, or when you have shown these skills in your life. At a certain moment of time in college, you were part of a cultural team, or you were part of a national basketball team, where you showed certain skills. You were part of a journal. You were an editor. So writing involves editing, summarizing. Writing involves reporting, and writing far further also involves your knowledge of foreign languages. So if you know French, or if you know Mandarin or Spanish, it only enhances when you're dealing with people of different ethnicities, of different, when you're breaking boundaries, when you're crossing territories, and you're interacting with people across the globe. So a little knowledge of all this always helps. That is why when I said, when people say that, well, why English, और English के लिए बहुत जोर क्यों दे रहे हैं, और communication, हमें हिंदी में बात करना चाहिए, बात करिए, and Hindi is our mother tongue, and we all are very comfortable with our mother tongue. But at the same time, I've always reminded you that since you study and you interact with people, if you're a part of a company, an international company, communication will always happen in an internationally well-known language, and it is the English language. Then you have to be very adept at that. And so that will involve presenting, speaking would involve making presentations, listening skills, cooperating would involve giving, accepting, constructive criticism. Yes, if I say, well, Randhir was very good, or if I say Ritesh lacked this particular quality, you must not feel bad about that. Okay, I'm going to work on this. If there is somebody with experience who has said that these are areas that I'm lacking in, I'm going to work on that. If your parents say that, no, see Randhir, you did not do this well, आपको इस area में आपको अपने आप को improve करना है, तो you must always work at improvement, and don't be bitter about criticism. You know, that creates a very anti-feeling in society, and creates more venom inside us. So presenting a positive personal image, hamesha, that, well, I'm a worker, I'm a thorough professional, and I can give the best. Motivating others. Now, leading as a leader. What would a leader do? This is from team working. You come to leading. You motivate others. You are assertive. You have negotiation skills. There is, there are differences of opinion in a particular, you could say, front desk, the office. And so you have been the negotiator. You have been able to balance the situation and create amicability and friendliness among the people who are not on good terms. Decision making would also involve delegating, persuading, influencing, setting objectives. You are a manager of a team. You have to set objectives. I want work done by this time. Have you ever seen, friends, if you've been to these big stores, for example, once I was there at the big bazaar, and I was there early on time. 10:30 is the time when the mall reopens, opens perhaps. And at 10:30, perhaps they allow entry only at 11 inside the store. But at 10:30, I was just impressed by the way that they worked. So every team, whether it's the security team or whether it is the front desk team, there is a manager for every team. I noticed that for a little while, it was the security team with the lead security guard, and he was giving instructions. So every day in the morning, there are plans that they roll out. Every day in the evening, before they close, they make an assessment of what was done, what were the happenings or whatever happened during the day, and how to be able to resolve those issues. So also the front desk people, so they have a meeting all in standing position with their hands at the back, with due respect to authority, listening and looking at that. So you have to set objectives. So what do the managers of each of these teams do? Well, today I want to see that you are able to do all your assignments on time, check every individual, and see that the masks are on, and see that sanitizers are, people are able to use the sanitizers. That is the work of the security team. So objectives have to be given. Time management. This is very important. You have been given an assignment. The principal says, I want this report to be on my table by tomorrow evening. How are you going to manage the time? आज तो अभी पिक्चर देख लेते हैं, कल आके करेंगे, कल आपके पास टाइम नहीं होगा, आज करें सो अब. All right, so whether you have been able to achieve and how you are able to achieve, you have to manage your time. Time management strategy is a very important issue as far as professionalism is concerned. How you prioritize your responsibilities, how you allot your time to different responsibilities, and how you manage. It's all about planning, and planning has become more scientific and action oriented. So that's about time management, responding flexibility and positively to changing situations. Then, as far as again organizing and planning on the marginal area, you are working to deadlines tomorrow evening. So are you able to complete all the tasks that have been given to you? Analyze. Problem solving has analyzing, data handling, even creativity to a certain extent. So all chartered accountants must have excellent numeracy skills. You collect data, classifying, synthesizing, identifying, evaluating options, summarizing data. These are skills that every chartered accountant or every financial executive must possess. And attention to quality is very important. Creativity, learning new skills. So lateral thinking. Lateral thinking is again thinking out of the box. You see in a certain line, you see in a certain manner, but sometimes you skip, and those ideas slip, which are on a lateral, on your lateral mindset. So think in a lateral manner also. Commercial awareness. Friends, this is one of the most important issues that we often neglect. Like, who was that, the young lady who said that, ma'am, we've been so involved in our CA studies that we've not been able to give time to other issues whatsoever. It's been nothing but just the books. But at the same time, are you aware, commercially aware about all those issues relating to a chartered accountant? What does a chartered accountant deal with? What are the various issues that are concerned with? Are you all the hard skills? Are you aware of everything? What are the different, if you are, for example, manager, you are a manager in a bank. As a manager in a bank, are you aware about the various products? Do you know about the functioning of the other related banks, your rival banks? If it's an SBI manager, does he know something about how the ICICI functions, or the Axis Bank, or the HDFC? So commercial awareness of related products is very important. And then enthusiasm to make things happen and to achieve goals. Friends, this is very important. You must have complete enthusiasm to go ahead, and self-reliance. Well, this is the chart. I would like you all to take a screenshot of this chart so that you have it handy when you prepare your, is it done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you prepare your chart, just a minute. Okay. Now, this was, in other words, as I said, this is the employability skills map, and this sets out all the main areas, and these examples then you can have them in your CV. So I spoke about the core area in the center. Then you have the connecting areas, the connecting skills, and the skills on the margins that are also related to the core skills. So what are the essential employability skills? Employability skills have been defined as a set of achievements and personal attributes that make individuals more likely to gain employment and to be successful in their chosen occupations. We all want to be successful. We all want to stand out and be the best. To be the best, you have to work to possess the best. So friends, those of you who are now chartered accountants are now out on we find now you have to accomplish and see that you gather these skills, a set of attributes, in other words, and you must have these set of attributes. And no need to bother, Rome was not built in a day. So if you think, well, I don't possess these attributes, now how am I going to be able to do all that? It comes with due course of time. And interaction, team activities, discussion with friends on the same level, on different platforms, will just give you a better insight. So knowledge and abilities relating to the particular job are always very, very important. So you need to have written communication skills, you need to have verbal communication skills. Some of you very good at writing, others, as Nikita says, she's very good at speaking, but you need a combination of both. You need to be highly flexible. Flexibility skills are very important. How you are able to adjust to other situations, persuading, teamwork, leadership. These are all the skills that I just spoke to you about. So friends, what is more important is, I said, hard skills and soft skills. You think, I'm now a CA and now I'm there on the mountain. I've climbed Mount Everest and I'm done. No, you have got the key. Now with this key, you're going to open your job profile. Get that? So a degree is not enough. It is just the job you're going to land, and you have the key to the job. And the key is the skills that you possess. You can't rely on your degree to automatically open doors for you, all right? It will unlock doors. Of course, now you will have a lot of jobs that ask for CAs, but beyond that, it will be something else that was required. Once your degree has unlocked the door, you will need a mix of skills and abilities to open other doors. So you have to make your choice. Before doing this, of course, you need to have chosen the right door, the right job description. You cannot take up any job that comes up, but something that is more akin. For example, Randhir is better at we find forensic auditing. Another Ritesh has his skills in another core area. So depending upon what your core areas are and what you're more you're flexible at, you're more adept at, you choose your core area. And so what employers expect from you? What are the skills that employers expect? They want the same as I just mentioned: teamwork, leadership, initiative, problem solving, and many of these skills just overlap. So it's okay if you have a team building skill. That means you have leadership skills. That means you have problem solving skills. That means you have negotiating skills. So some of these skills are skills that just overlap. And let me just show you, for example, what skills a chartered accountant requires. But suppose you are an editor of a particular magazine, So what does an editor require? You may have been a debater in college, reading, for example, extra reading beyond. And these are things that can help an editor. For a chartered accountant, what are the skills that chartered accountants require? They must be logical, be able to research. Yes, so much about GST, so much every new budget opens up several possibilities of information that you need to read, and we find there are subdivisions and subcases, and so you need to be doing a lot of research when they prepare and audit accounts, as well as being good at questioning. You ask a number of questions of your clients. You have to be able to advise. So questioning, advising clients when they provide a consultancy service. Those who have their firms, they're doing consultation. They should also have strong numeracy, decision making, planning, and oral communication skills, because you're constantly communicating with them. While being socially, we find confident. You can't show your client that you're not very confident about your job. You have to show that you know your job well, and only then can the person have faith, have trust in you. For example, a doctor, a patient comes to a doctor. The doctor says, "Well, I will have to see." The patient says, "Sir, can I take this medicine? I have this problem." You can take this also. You can take that also, but you can also take that medicine. the doctor opens an entire plethora of we find prescription. What is the patient to do? The patient wants a definite answer from a person. So what does that show? You must show that you're socially confident and you are technically confident also, and be able to persuade and negotiate with their clients. They must also be good at, above all, listening to what others have to say. And so, what is this program teaching you? Communication. And communication involves listening, speaking, writing, discourse, and so on. Now, for example, marketing managers. You could be a marketing manager even though you are a CA. You need to be a good written communication. You must be a good at written communication, persuasive, analyzing, organized. Well, these are a lot of skills that overlap, but you have to depend and see what is the job description that you are looking for and how you're going to be moving ahead as far as your job is concerned. So now once all your skills are made, a list is made, an inventory is made, before you start, you see and make a list of some of these questions like, have you received some form of recognition? Well, when I was in school, I did a wrestling, there was a wrestling match or there was a cricket match and I got a best fielder. You make a note, little things that you've done all along. Have you intervened in a situation that could have been a serious problem, whether it is at home or whether it is in the building or whether it is outside? Make a note of it. Have you made a suggestion that was adopted by your classmates? You gave a suggestion and well, the classmates have taken that suggestion. Have you accomplished a task using less than the usual resources? Have you satisfied a particularly difficult client? Somebody has been very difficult, but you managed to get your work done. Have you initiated something? Well, these are some questions that you ask and you can get answers to them. So before you start, define the situation, take the task, go ahead with the action, and you will get the results. And here is you build up your USP. What is it? What is your USP? Unique?
Unique selling point.
Yes, exactly. Unique selling point. This is the crowd. This is the entire crowd. Each one going in a certain direction. But you are something different. You have to be something different. You have to create something different inside you. And so you have to build up your USP. Himanshu has already shown us his USP and you can go ahead. But just that will not be enough for him to get the best job as far as the CA is concerned. He has to be rare, unique, people reason to believe. Let your past speak from you, for you. You go out and when there's an interview, suppose I'm part of an interview board, I will know from my past experience or from Himanshu's past that, well, Himanshu has handled situations like that. And moreover, you have to be valuable. Add value to your job profile. Anyone, just a CA will not do, but what is it that you can add? This is what you have to mention in your summary. I can take this company to places. I can join in and I have these skills. I can make it a better, I can add more prospects and so on. So you have to add value to your job profile. For example, there is research that is done. Whenever there is research that is done, there is a thing is already there. But what is that something special that you have added that makes it something that adds value, that makes it more valuable? This is what you have to work at. So this is all about what a curriculum vitae is. As I said, curriculum vitae is generally more detailed and a resume is brief, but you have to build up your resume. And there is no one best way. You say, ma'am, can you help me with the CV? Randhir has his own way. Amandeep has his own style. You know, each one has his own USP. Himanshu has his own USP and he works in his own manner. He writes in a way which is very unique to him. So I say, well, Himanshu is very good. Randhir is very good. Amandeep is very good. That means each one has a style and each style is different. Each style is relative to the person. And so I will not say that there is any one prescription that this is how it has to be. Otherwise, it would be just like, filling in the dotted lines and your resume is there. It's not going to be any different. But you add your own personal profile to it and make it different. And you know, there are, for example, if you are from a design area and you are putting your resume can be on a t-shirt, you know, and you put in so something very different. That is it, what I'm trying to hint at is being something different. So as I said, there's no one correct way to make a good CV, but it should be, what is more important? It should be targeted at the specific job. It should be clearly laid out. It should be informative, give all information, but don't go into details. It should be concise. It is accurate. You should see to it that it is accurate in content. And above all, you must see to the spelling and grammar also. So those of you who said that your grammar is weak, take care of that. You must get it rechecked and get it checked by people. And so let me just tell you, this is also good information to know about this. What is it when CVs are afloat, and how many people look at what are the various issues that people look at? For example, 45% they look at the previous work experience. All right, so Nikita and others who say that at this point of time we do not have a big detail, we may not have a bloated CV. No, it doesn't matter. You don't have to, no regrets about that, because you evolve and you will develop. And it's only 45% who look at your work, previous work experience. 35% look at your qualifications and skills. 25% find it whether it is easy to read or not, you know. 16% look at your accomplishment. 14% look at spelling and grammar. Had it been me, I would look at that spelling and grammar part of it also. But there are a number of good chartered accountants firms, as I told you, gave you an example of that particular chartered accountant friend of mine who said that not one of the 60 applicants that came for the interview, not one of them could communicate effectively and impressively in English. So yes, all about your language communication and whether you know your English language, if it's in a company or whatever, you have to be very careful about that. 9% look at your education. Why? Because, well, the baseline is you have your hardcore skill, but yet beyond that, which school are you from? Where have you done your, where have you acquired your college education from? These also highlight and add to your personality. Intangibles, 9% look at intangibles like your individuality, your desire to succeed. 3% look at the clear objective that you have before you. 2% look at keywords that you've added, something very special, negotiation and time management, strategic management. So strategy is something different that you've added. 1% look at your contact information, 1 look at your personal experiences, and 1 look at your computer skills, because at today's date and time, everyone is expected to have these computer skills. So friends, those of you who go about and say, well, how am I going to handle this? These are things that you don't have to be very worried about. It's all there. I've given it to you on, and you should be able to follow it up. So friends, here, normally your name, address, date of birth, and laws now in force, telephone number and detail. There is a difference, a slight difference between British CVs and CVs in other European countries. Some CVs require a passport photograph, and British CVs don't usually ask for a photograph. So as advised, you move along. You know, if you're applying for a British company, what they ask for, and they would provide, say if it's an uploaded form, if they're asking for a photograph. And USA photographs are frowned upon, as this may contravene equal opportunity legislation. You know, some countries who are very particular about equal opportunities for all, and just a look at the face may may influence a person. So a lot of them do not want photographs in their resume as they demand. And your qualifications are important. Your work experience is what is more important. You have to make a list of all the projects you've done, how each of the project has been very different. When I spoke to you about, say, when you're asked about your reading skills or your writing skills, you don't just say, I'm fond of reading, or you don't just say, I'm fond of listening to music. What music? You must specify. If it's a cinema, you're fond of reading cinema, you say member of the University Filmmaking Society. Travel, I love traveling. I've traveled through Europe by train and I plan to do this. Something more about the skill that you like, some about your passion. It's not just a canopy, a broad umbrella that you put up, but something what is more special about you and your passion, your hobbies that is driving you there. Follow. So the usual skills that one maintains as well as far as hard skills, languages that you know, computing, that you're a mature candidate, have a lot of skills, other skills, and so on. These are certain areas that people generally have good information about. So, as I said, you must have a CV tailored to every job. You cannot just flush in a CV or your and put it on all platforms, but for each job description you must have a personal profile at the start of your CV. And competitive industries that can make a good difference. And so these are CVs that I just made you, that I just showed you how many people look at various aspects. But I think the next time in class I'm going to be talking to you